Most of us let the camera decide what's important in the frame, and that is a problem. But can spot metering change how your images feel? Can spot metering tell the audience exactly where the emotions live? Is it really that simple to use? Let's answer all of those questions in this video so you can learn how to use spot metering the right way. Alright guys, I have to be honest with you, I am so partial towards spot metering because I have used that throughout my career. It is the easiest way to direct your audience eye in the frame. Let's see why it's so easy. So part 1, what is spot metering? I'm sure you guys already know what spot metering is, but I'm going to break this down and make it as simple as possible. Spot metering is nothing but a small percentage of your frame that the camera measures. That's it. In some cameras, you can attach that spot to the focusing point. That makes it a super powerful tool. In short, spot metering is just a small, tiny little area in the frame that you choose to measure. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's as simple as that. But here's the real question. Once the camera measures that small area, what should you do with the information? How can that information work to create the focus and attention that you want your audience to have? How can you use that information to guide your audience's eye? Let's answer all these questions. Now let's see how this works in real life. Let me tell you a story. We were shooting in a church for this image. Since it was such a huge location, no matter what I was doing, I was not getting the focus to go straight on the arches. It was just crazy. And I was using basically 5 lights, but I was not getting it the way I want it to be. What did I do? I went and I got more lights. I got like maybe 30, I think 30 or 40, 32 lights, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And we started hitting the lights, making the model the brightest. So I put the light on the model, and I believe the model was measuring somewhere at 1.8, and everything else we started to make it darker and darker and darker. And once that happened, the attention goes straight to the model. This is the same case in wildlife. I was up in the Arctic. It was crazy cold. Everything is white. And here comes the fox. In order for me to pull attention to the fox, because his eyes are dark, let me make the fox the darkest in the image. And that's what I did, because there was no way for me to make the background the darkest, because even though I moved, I tried to find a darker background and make him the brightest. That would be the easy way to do it, but I couldn't. So see the difference between the background and the foreground and the fox? It's hardly 1/3 of a difference, but nevertheless, he is the darkest. And the only way I could get that, spot metering. You got that right. Okay, now that you've seen it in action, let's go deeper. All right, guys, part 2. How spot metering helps you guide emotions. As humans, we use patterns. We use contrast, color, or luminance to know where to look. That's how your eyes and brain work. Spot metering is a tool that allows you to measure small parts of your image just so you can decide what's important and light your image based on the data it provides. Spot metering doesn't make the decision for you. It simply tells you the light levels at that given spot. That's it. You, as a photographer or an artist, decide what to do with that measurement. Do you want that area to be the brightest spot in the frame, where the eye goes first? Or do you want that area to be the darkest? And that's how you start guiding your audience's eye into the feeling that you want them to see. I mean, look at it. We see contrast, right? So if you make it super dark where you want them to focus, then everything else has to be lighter. If you make it bright, then everything else has to be darker. That's it. That's the rule. All right, guys, so this is how spot metering helps guide the eye. Sometimes we speak about foreground, background, this, that, and the other. And what happens if you don't have any? So, in my studio, we were photographing this beauty shot and we started to light. Now, the only way for me to draw the viewer's eye into the center of this model's face is to slowly but surely make it darker, right? Because I wanted her to be the brightest. What do? I light her with one gigantic box from the back. Now, mind you, I'm shooting in front, so I'm controlling how much spillage is happening on her face. So I let a little bit peek in, and then I go click, and then I look at it, and it's pretty flat. So what do? We start bringing in the black boards. The closer the black board came in, the less reflection, the darker her sides got. And that is so much emotion. The only reason why you're getting this emotion is simply because spot meter helped me here, spot meter helped me there. And that's the only way I could find out that there was a half a stop difference between here and here. Because I wasn't lighting the sides, right? I was bringing in the dark boards, the negative fill. And I kept on bringing the negative fill to a place where it started giving me that half stop difference. The only way I could measure it, spot metering. But this isn't just for the studio. You can use the same approach in the field. Let me show you how. In wildlife, I am in South Dakota and I'm photographing these bisons. Of course, I don't have any negative fill. I don't have any of that. It wasn't early in the morning or late at night, but it was light that was coming from the top. And since it was coming from the top and the bisons were dark, the back, the hump was getting illuminated more than the face because the face was darker. I measured the back, I measured the front, found the difference. I think it was 3/4 of a stop and I went click, click. That's it. Would I know the difference if I was to use another spot metering mode? I guess I wouldn't know, but I guess it would also come out okay. But I like to make those decisions myself on how much. Now, in the case of the bison, would I be able to change how much? Yeah, I would. I had to move. If I moved one side or I moved to the other side, of course, what is being illuminated would also change based on the angle that I was at. So that is how you control with spot metering what you want and how much you want. Okay, part number 3, what to do with the information you have from the spot meter. Once you have measured the light in that tiny area, now comes the most important part. The decision making. You want to decide whether you want to pull your audience's attention to that spot by making it the lightest in your frame or the darkest. If you want it to be the brightest, measure the foreground and the background and make sure they're about half a stop to 3/4 of a stop darker. And if you want that spot to be the darkest, then do exactly the opposite. Make sure that the foreground and the background is 3/4 to a stop brighter. And by the way, you don't have to follow the 3/4 of a stop to a stop. That's just something I do. You can do whatever you want. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your canvas. It can be 2 stops darker or lighter. It can be 1 stop darker or lighter. That's totally up to you. And that's it. You've just guided your audience's eye to exactly where you want them to see so they can feel something, so they can fall in love with your image. Spot metering is not so difficult. I mean, I don't know about the other metering modes, so to speak. I do know, but I don't use it. I only use spot metering because it gives me full control manual to be able to use my brains and say, this needs to be darker, that needs to be brighter. Hence, my audience is going to feel this, and hence my audience is going to feel that. It's not difficult. It's very easy. It's very, very fast, and you're done. I mean, all you have to do is point your camera. This is where my subject is going to come, or my subject is. This is my environment. This is my environment. This is my environment, and done, right? So now part number 4, what if your subject isn't there yet? Let me show you how I preset my exposure with spot metering even before the subject arrives. So take a look at this and just for 1 second, think that the subject was not there. And I decided my subject is going to be the darkest. So I measured the foreground, I measured the background and I measured the other side. And what did I do? I made my measurement darker by 2/3 of a stop. That's it. And that is basically 2 clicks in one direction. And for the most part, I use shutter speed, right? So 2 clicks, bang. And that is my spot focus attached to my spot metering. The minute my subject came in, I pointed that and fired away. Why? Because I'd already measured everything else in the frame and I wanted her to be the darkest. So if I made her darker by 2/3 of a stop, attention drawn to it. So I did exactly the same thing in this one as well. I measured everything around it. And what did I do? The bird wasn't there when I measured everything around it. But I said, okay, I want my bird to be the darkest. What do? I only wanted a difference of about 1/3 to 1/2. Bang, I made my spot metering with the focusing point. It was 1/3 or 1/2 a stop darker. I'm home. Bird shows up. I put her in the frame. Click, click. Done. Measurements done. Spot metering. That's the power. I hope I made this super easy and super simple to understand and utilize and have fun with it. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.